Hello, my name is CJ, and welcome to my penultimate review of the third season of Sailor Moon Crystal. Today I'll be reviewing Episode 38, Act 37, Infinity 11, Infinite Judge. Now, I have a lot to say, and it's for a very good reason, so let's go ahead and get started with this review. The good. Rainbow Double Moon Heartache looked amazing. It was great. Super Sailor Chibi Moon had a really lackluster introduction last episode, but this was awesome. I'm glad the director stepped it up and made Super Sailor Chibi Moon and Super Sailor Moon's ultimate attack look amazing. It was fantastic. It was great. Excellent. Speaking of new attacks, Tuxedo Less Smoking Bomber was introduced in this episode. It also looked amazing. I was kind of shocked, actually. I thought they would kind of cheapen that attack, considering he only uses it once for this entire arc. So I thought they were just going to have him be like, and like shoot out like some, I don't know, some whip attack. But no, it was like this giant beam of light, and it really made me think of Tuxedo Mask for, you know, once in a very long time, that he could actually be like some kind of incredible, intimidating force. For those who don't know, Tuxedo Mask is technically Sailor Earth. He has the powers of Earth, you know, the power to heal, the power to you know, sense things like other Sailor soldiers. So it was kind of cool seeing him be an actual, like, big part of this battle. Yes, this is something that is still present in the manga, but I thought Toei Animation did a really good job including him when they really could have cheapened this scene very easily, and they chose to take the better route, which was awesome. Next up, there were some scenes that were edited here and there. There was honestly too many to talk about. For those who don't know, I actually watch these episodes while I read the manga along, like, as the episode's going, so I'll be like, okay, alright, they did that, yep, okay, they did that, yeah, you know, and it's not because I'm, like, a nitpicker, it's just that I'm so interested in adaptations and changes, and there were a lot this episode. Again, too many to talk about, but two in particular I really want to point out. When Sailor Mercury notices the Tau system emerging from the interdimensional portal, she has a flashback to when she saw this same Tau system inside the classroom she invaded at Mugen Academy. I thought that was awesome because, as viewers, we might not remember that she saw that, and I really liked that we got some context to it. You know, it really helped make the scene more believable, and it really clarified a few things for us viewers who might have forgotten about that little plot point. Another thing is that a sequence from what actually should be in the last episode was in this episode. That is Tuxedo Mask, Sailor Uranus, and Sailor Chibi Moon lamenting over Sailor Moon's supposed death. I thought that was very well done. In the manga, this mourning from them kind of comes out of nowhere, so I liked that they moved it to when Sailor Moon supposedly actually died. So that was pretty nice. I thought that was a very smart change, and honestly, it's probably going to free up a lot more time for really important sequences in the final episode. So I thought that was, again, a fantastic change. You know, one thing I do want to note, a really funny note, you know, Chibiusa, I totally understand why you'd be freaked out about Sailor Moon dying. You know, not only because she's your friend, but because she's your mom. I mean, come on! Your existence is hanging on a thread here. You know, if something happens to Sailor Moon now, you are done! You are toast! So yeah, Sailor Chibi Moon probably should have been freaking out a little bit. And, you know, of course, the characters at this point don't know that the Sailor Moon timeline is, it's not, like, dimensional, kind of like the Zelda timeline, how it's, like, has different branching paths. The Sailor Moon timeline is actually, like, one continuous timeline. So the events of the past do affect the events in the future, as we see in a later arc. But, you know, so they all should have been like, if Sailor Chibi Moon is alive, then Sailor Moon must also be alive, you know? But I'm just kidding. I'm just putting logic into this, and I really shouldn't. It's fun. Now, let's get to the topic that you've all been waiting for. Oh my gosh. I'm just so happy. Sailor Saturn's introduction in Sailor Moon Crystal. Oh boy. It's here, and it's fantastic. If you would have told me, you know, way back in the day, you know, about 2 years ago when Sailor Moon Crystal was in its first season, you know, halfway through the Dark Kingdom arc, and I was just, like, dying. I was just like, kill me. You know, if you would have told me that by this time, Sailor Saturn would have, like, one of the coolest introductions that you've ever seen in a manga adaptation, I would have never believed you. I would have been like, no, she's gonna get, like, some weird, like, goofed up, like, awful animated, like, bleh scene, and, you know, it's just gonna look terrible. But no. It looked amazing. It was awesome. And for those fans who wanted a Sailor Saturn transformation, well, you kind of got one. You got a half of one. I'm not sure if that's going to be used for her official transformation, but I would not be surprised if that was actually like half of it, and they were just showing us like the later half for now. Either way, it looked awesome. I really liked it as an introduction to this incredible character. Yeah, just awesome. Now, if I'm to get serious here, the best moment in the Infinity arc in the manga for me is when Saturn initially drops her Silence Glaive. Reading it in the manga, it's probably one of the most captivating pages you'll ever see. It's completely white, and all you can see is like an outline of Sailor Saturn dropping the glaive. And I have never seen something convey silence so beautifully. I mean, manga in itself is a silent medium, so it's really hard to, like, convey just absolute silence, and Takeuchi really gets it right in this scene. So, you know, in Sailor Moon Crystal, I was making jokes with my friends that when this scene would be adapted, that, like, they'd put, like, dubstep in it, be like, you know, like, it would just be awful. But no, they did a really, really good job. In fact, they did exactly what I wanted to, where you get this, like, sort of, like, boom sound where it's like, and it just kind of like slowly fades out. Awesome. I could not have asked for more. It was great. Now, the animation could be improved a teeny bit, but really, that's me nitpicking. There's no complaints from me here. I thought it was amazing. They did Sailor Saturn right. Thank you, Toei Animation. Now keep it up for the next episode. One final thing that I actually forgot to put in the original video that I'm so glad I remembered to edit in is that Sailor Moon has this added flashback. They added this flashback of her remembering all the amazing things that her friends have done for her. You know, the moonlight pours in to the city, and everyone is enamored by the warmth of it. And Sailor Moon remembers, yes, you know, these women, these friends of mine, have given their all for me. You know, they've sacrificed their lives in some instances for me. And it's now my turn to give back. You know, that scene was incredible. You know, the manga version is still beautiful. You know, her sacrifice is still awesome. But I thought it was a really, really nice way to sort of bookend all the character development of this third season that had been leading up until this point. So excellent job, Toei Animation. I thought that was incredible. Yeah, just an amazing adaptation choice. The meh. Now, I really have only two little things to talk about here. The first is that Rainbow Double Moon Heartache was repeated twice in this episode. Now, really, that wasn't something that Toei Animation could avoid, considering this happens in the manga. They use it twice in the manga. But I thought it would have been a little clever for them to maybe, I don't know, the second time it happens for Sailor Moon and Sailor Chibi Moon to be shown from a different angle, or maybe have it just animated in the sequence that it was shown. I don't know what they could have done. But really, that's just me nitpicking. Really wasn't that big of a deal. Yeah, honestly, I don't really care that much, but it was something to note. Another thing, and this is something that's been happening actually quite recently in the past few episodes, is that the cats are watching the scene as it happens, and this is something that's anime only. This does not happen in the manga. In fact, Luna, Artemis, and Diana kind of just F off during this sequence. You don't really see them at all. I thought their inclusion was fine. And personally, my conspiracy theory is that they're including more of Artemis, so that his relationship with Venus makes a little bit more sense in the Dream Arc when Artemis does become a little bit more of an important character. But in my opinion, these scenes with the cats don't really add or take away from this. So they're kind of in the meh section just because, they're not good. They're not bad either. It's just, whatever. The cats. The bad. So I only have a few things to talk about here. Very, very small things, by the way. Now, I wanted to clarify a few things that I noticed in some of the comment sections of these episode reviews. First off, I review Sailor Moon Crystal as an adaptation of the manga. Please understand this. I'm not reviewing it simply as an anime alone. So if it sounds like I'm being super nostalgic for the manga, that's why. Now, that being said, I will be quite frank with you. I am a manga fan. I'm probably, definitely more a fan of the manga than I am of the original anime. That doesn't change my mind about this show, though. You know, that doesn't make it any better or worse in my eyes. So I just wanted to clarify that really, really quick. I am nostalgic for it, but that nostalgia I try not to let influence my critical view of Sailor Moon Crystal. Secondly, yes, the animation is going to be improved in the Blu-ray version. I understand this. My personal belief is that this is the version of Sailor Moon Crystal that most people are going to see, so I would rather that they get the animation right this time around. However, that being said, I am very much looking forward to the Blu-ray version of this third season, more so than the past two seasons, considering this third season is awesome altogether. You know, the pacing's great, the story's great, the adaptation's great, so having better animation is going to make this show incredibly awesome, more so than it already is. With the first and second season, you know, making a Blu-ray version of it, improving the animation, was basically the equivalent of throwing sparkling gold paint on a turd. It's still a turd in the end, no matter how much paint you throw over it, no matter how much you improve it aesthetically, it's still awful. You know, those choices, those bad adaptation choices are still there. So those are my thoughts on the Blu-ray version. You know, that being said, you know, again, it's incredible that this third season has been so good up until this point, and I am super excited for the final episode next week, and I pray that Toei Animation gets it right, because if they do, this season will be magnificent. Now, let me get to the real nitpick I have. So in the manga, when Sailor Saturn first appears, she's like, "Hey, how's it going, guys?" She's like holding up her scythe. She's like, "Hey, guess what? Time for me to blow up the world," you know, and she's she's doing, you know, her spiel, and she's talking and stuff. Now, the one thing that Saturn never does in the manga, and you'll notice this now that I say it, I bet a lot of you will start to notice this, is that she never moves her glaive. In fact, her glaive is almost always either completely on its side when she first emerges, and straight up, just completely straight up. The reason this is because when Saturn swings that thing down, guess what happens? Boom! The world explodes! So, you know, for her to swing that down is a pretty big deal. So, not once, not twice in this episode does Sailor Saturn decide she's gonna do some cute little color guard tricks with her sign and start swinging it all over the place. Now, don't get me wrong, I understand that anime is an animated medium. You know, they don't want Sailor Saturn to just be standing there all boring for the entire time. So really, this is just a major nitpick for me. I just personally think that Saturn shouldn't be swinging that thing around, you know, considering how lore-breaking such an action is. But, you know, again, it's an animated medium. I really don't care all that much about this decision, but it's just something I felt needed to be pointed out. Altogether, I would give this episode a B+. It was a fantastic episode. I really enjoyed it. There were really clever adaptations, you know, especially that silence that gathered in as Saturn dropped her glaive. That cliffhanger was awesome. I really, really, really enjoyed that. Toei Animation, you are doing a fantastic job with Season 3. Please do not mess up this final episode, please! Like, you're doing so well. You know, I don't mean to, like, scare people, but it's almost like a trope in anime series that the final episode sometimes gets screwed over by the budget. Sometimes animation studios just run out of budget by the time the final episode rolls around. I'm praying that the lackluster sort of production we got from episode 11 is a reflection of the budget actually being moved toward this final episode. You know, the Infinity arc is my second favorite arc in the manga for a reason. I mean, this finale is bombastic. It's incredible. It's just emotionally, like, taxing, you know, it's just like so much is going on, and so far Toei Animation is doing amazing work with it, and I just can't wait for next week. I can't wait to see what they do. Until next time, this is CJ, signing off.